Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Marvel Contest of Champions. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. All right, today we're going to continue our series on which champions to awaken. That's our top 10 list. And then our top 10 list of those particular champions on who to spend signature stones on. So who do you get the most bang for your buck when you spend those signature stones? So again, this is just a video on looking at who to awaken, who gets the best benefit from just flat out being awakened and getting their signature ability or their awakened ability, and then who do you get the most bang for your buck when you spend those sig stones on those champions. So in this video, we're going to do the skill champion. So I have I've got a top 10 list here, and you can see that we've got them laid out by top 10 of who should be awakened. This is not, so they get an ability when they get awakened, and then the question is who's going to get the best benefit from that awakened ability. So my number one is Nick Fury for skill. Nick Fury, when he's awakened, he counts as two characters essentially, and he gets when he is his regular Nick Fury self, not his life model decoy, he does get quite a bit of extra damage because of his fury that he gets when he's really alive instead of his life model decoy. So if you don't know, Nick Fury starts out with his life model decoy, and then when that goes down to 0, he gets his real self. So we've also got Aunt May opened up. So let's look at Aunt May. We got our skill champs here. So our first one here is Nick Fury, all the way over here. All right, so his life model, so he doesn't get the life model decoy when he is not awakened. So he counts as one character, but when he is awakened, he has his life model decoy starts first. So that's like his static charge or his persistent charge. And then when that goes down to 0, health, then his regular self starts in. Now his signature ability that he gets with that scales as he gets signature levels is he begins to take direct damage per second when he first shows up down to 30% max health, and that is actually lowered the higher his sig ability. So not necessarily important to have him as a high sig, but it is necessarily important to have him to be completely awakened. And then he returns the fight with a permanent Fury's Fury and a stun immunity. That's also really important. All right, so who is second? So this is just who needs to be awakened. And he gets such a massive benefit from being awakened. Okay, number 2, Kingpin. So if you have an unawakened Kingpin, if you don't know, everything Kingpin does centers around his ability to get overpower. And he can't get overpower until he gets a certain number of rages. So the more of these rage debuffs he gets, the faster he goes into overpower and does more damage. So it is really important for him to get those. If he's unawakened, he starts with none. If he's awakened, he starts with some, which is really important because that speeds up his buildup to being able to do more damage. In addition, he has a % chance up to 90 with sig levels to regain up to 5 charge rages after his overpower goes into expiration. So let's look at him. Kingpin, there he is right there. There it is. So he starts with 2 to 4 rages, and when his overpower ends, he has a chance, 30% to 90%, depending on sig level, to gain, to reactivate a rage charge up to 5. And let's look at the rage. So overpower, when Kingpin has 8 or more debuffs. And these rages count as debuffs. In addition, he gains a non-rage, which has a 60% chance to purify and gain a rage. Okay, so this is the thing we want here. when he gets 8 or more debuffs, and rage counts as debuffs, he goes into overpower, and it grants him 8,900 attack rating. This is for a rank 4 6-star. So, that's going to be less for a rank 3, and it's going to be less for a rank 5 5-star. But that's where his bread and butter is. So the more rages he has, the better. And been starting the fight with rages and being able to gain rages after overpower goes away, because it doesn't last that long, is extremely important and gives him a massive benefit. All right, number 3 is Falcon. And this is the regular Falcon. This is not the Captain America Falcon. That's a tech character. So this Falcon is right here. So without this, his whole thing is that lock on, and you need that lock on to last as long as possible. So an extra 2 seconds is usually like 2 to 4 hits. It's actually a long time in the game. In addition, he gets a bonus to his crit rating up to 1,950. So that's massive. That is a massive benefit to him with all of his other abilities. Without it, he is just kind of meh. He still gets lock on. It doesn't last as long, and he doesn't get this bonus to his crit rating, which does his massive amount of damage. Which, if you come down here and you look at his special 2, if you can hit them with a special 2 while you have them locked on, he gets an additional bonus to his crit damage rating. Additionally, the second hit of this attack is 100%. So that's where all his damage is coming from. And the opponent's physical resistance is reduced by 100%. So that's a big one. He gets a big hit on his special 2, but especially if he's got this this lock on. Okay, so who is number 4? Blade. So Blade gets a healing. Without it, he doesn't get the healing. He doesn't get it unless he's awakened. That's massive. That is a massive, massive bonus to him. That's basically what he's got. A lot of stuff that makes him good, but this is the thing that makes him really, really worth taking and makes him overpowered. Or I should say God tier. And that costs down to, it costs him power. So you back up, you turn the block on, and then he will start to lose power and heal. It costs less if you have more sig levels, but just having it is pretty massive. So let's look at that. Blade. Where is Blade? Blade is right here. Okay, so there it is. When below 70% health, Blade's healing factor allows him to recover 2,135 health for a cost of 39 to 24% of a bar power per second. Okay? And I don't think, they don't really have this on here. It's only his signature ability. So that's a biggie. All right, so who is next? Mole Man. Now, I know Mole Man has gotten a debuff, sort of. I know that he got nerfed, that because there was a glitch, and his true strike, true sense ability lasted even while he was frenzied, and now it's gone to what it actually was written into the kit. But I still think that he is a great champion. He's got a lot of really good damage that he can do. Unstoppable effects, all that, purify abilities are all just great. Now, when he is awakened, he gets a bonus to crit damage, not crit rating, but crit damage, up to 2,689, and he gains up to 3,460 attack rating while unstoppable. So if you hit him while he's got monster mass, if you hit into his block, he goes unstoppable, and then he can start attacking you. And he does all this extra damage. So let's take a look at the Mole Man. He is still the Mole God. I don't really care about the haters out there. He is still pretty awesome. So there it is. He gets a bump in his crit damage rating. And when he goes frenzied, all of his hits are crits. So this bumps that damage way up when he's frenzied. And you can get his frenzy to last a long, long time. And everything is about that frenzy. And then he also gains an attack rating while unstoppable. So this is without being awakened, he doesn't get any of that. He doesn't get any of these bumps and damage. So I think it's really good to have that that on. All right, what is next? Next is Korg. And a lot of people, this was a hard list to put together, and a lot of people are not going to like that. But Korg, a lot of people don't like to use Korg to attack. I don't necessarily use him to attack, but Korg is great on defense for Alliance War, and he makes all the difference in the world for, I mean, it's almost mandatory that we now put Korg in Alliance War, particularly for putting him on the evade buff, or the evade node that we have in there, the Mixmaster node, that causes an evade. So I think it's important. So when he is not awakened, he doesn't get the Rock Hard Thorn. So he doesn't get to do damage to an opponent when they hit him with a medium or heavy, or a special attack that makes contact. And he can do quite a bit of damage too. I've gone up against Korgs, especially the ones that are in Alliance War, that sit on that Mixmaster node, and you can only hit them with a heavy or a medium and a heavy, and you're just whacking yourself with damage. The other one is, while his Rock Shield is active, he's got up to a 70% chance to purify debuffs, and he gains 1 Rock Shield for each debuff is purified. Without being awakened, he didn't get that. So that is massive too. So you can't stun him. You can't parry him and stun him and stupefy him if he's got this on or maxed out all the way. So I think that's really important. Another place that Korg is really valuable in is Battlegrounds as a defender. So he is a great defender. And that's why I've kind of put him in my top 10, because you can get a lot of good content and a lot of good rewards out of having a good defense in some of these modes in the game. Okay, who is next? Next is Black Widow Deadly Origins at number 7. So her whole thing is about this sabotage. So let's take a look at her. That's the main thing in her kit. So she has this thing called Red Room Training. So without being awakened, she gets none of this. She increases the potency of her sabotage debuffs, increasing direct damage done when abilities fail to trigger by 50 to 100%, 120%. You increase the duration of the sabotage, and landing hits while Widow's Insight is active pauses Sabotage's debuff for a half a second, which could cause it to pause all the time. Now, where do you get the Sabotage from? Well, the main place that she gets it from is her Special Attack 3. So you automatically inflict it, and it lasts for 16 seconds. It reduces defensive ability accuracy by 20%, and it deals 72 direct damage when the opponent's defensive ability fails to trigger. But with the Awakened ability, it increases that damage by up to 120% of this. And for every 5 stacks of Widow's Insight gained since last activating special, you create a passive cruelty. There's the Sabotage. So with being Awakened, it does more damage and it lasts longer, and it gets paused when Widow's Insight is active, and that's this first one here. So the ability refreshes its duration when successfully landing hit. So you get it whenever you land a hit, basically. Okay. So who is next? And she can do a massive amount of damage with all of that. Okay, next on number 8 I have is Crossbones. So Crossbones is able to purify debuffs up to a 90% chance, but his whole thing is he can't do crits, but every time he would land a crit, he instead gains a Fury buff. And with this purified debuff, he converts those purified debuffs into Furies. That's massive for him. So without it, he can't do any of that. He still can generate Furies whenever he would crit, but he doesn't he doesn't purify any debuffs. So there it is, Brock Brumlow. Brumlow's Brutal Hydro Training allows him to 40 to 90% chance to purify incoming debuffs. Each time he does, he gains a Fury. So you can gain Furies that much faster. He's all about gaining Furies, and you want to be able to game the system to get as many Furies as possible. So without this, he can't shrug off debuffs, and he doesn't gain Furies as fast. So there's a big difference between the two, Awaken and Unawaken. Okay, number 9 is ShangChi. So let's look at ShangChi. Oh, I keep going back to this. ShangChi. Okay. ShangChi's way down here. And here's ShangChi. So remember, without being awakened, he doesn't get any of this. He performing crit hits through opponent's block. So when he is not awakened, he doesn't do as much damage through the block. If you're being very aggressive with him, you can do tons of damage this way. If you were to trigger a critical hit while you're hitting the opponent's block, it's going to be a crit hit. And crit hits deal 10 to 20% of the hit damage as a burst of physical damage. So again, whether I'm hitting him when I'm hitting the opponent when they're not blocking, or when I'm hitting the opponent while they're blocking, I can get a crit hit, and that crit hit is going to do extra damage that's burst damage. So this is just stacking on massive amounts of damage that you normally wouldn't get if it wasn't awakened. All right. So now we're going to go to the next one on our list with the last one, number 10, which is HitMonkey. And so, again, remember, without this, HitMonkey doesn't get these things if he's not awakened. So if he becomes awakened, he gets the monkey, the myth, the legend. So while the opponent is above, so remember, HitMonkey is all about either Assassin's Cunning or Primal Rage, and how long those last. Particularly, I like the Assassin's Cunning because it allows me to do crit hits and turn crit hits into bleeds and critical bleeds. And so you need that to last pretty long. So while the opponent is above 25% health or is a mercenary, Assassin's Cunning or Primal Rage last for an additional half to 3.5 seconds longer, which allows you to keep doing that. It's his main ability, and allows you to keep using that main ability a lot longer. So he does a lot more damage. While the opponent is below 25% or is a mercenary, HitMonkeys, he passively reduces their defensive ability accuracy by 10 to 40% based off the signature. So without being awakened, he doesn't get this. So again, if you got an opponent who is evade, and which is the most annoying thing in the game, and they're below 25% health, you can shut that off. So those are really important things. Okay, now I've got some honorable mentions in this, and I know people are going to be like, where's Aegon? Oh my God, why didn't you say Aegon? Okay. Aegon is extremely situational. He's been very useful to me, and he's gotten me through a lot of content. But I haven't used him since I became Thronebreaker at all. There are certain things I probably will pull him out for. If I decide to go do a Labyrinth run or an Abyss of Legends run, then I will probably pull him out. I got a 5-star Aegon. I don't have a 6-star. So Aegon he's worthless if he's not awakened. And he needs to be awakened for his persistent combo meter to activate. So your combo meter, if you win a fight, you get to keep up to 75% of your combo meter. So that is, if you got to a combo meter of 100, then he will start the next fight with 75 on his combo meter. And he doesn't lose it. It doesn't go below that. So it keeps going up. And then he gets certain benefits as his combo meter goes up. But like I said, Aegon is extremely situational. He's a great champ, but as a 6-star, you need to have him. He needs to be really, really high sig, so not just awakened, but really high sig. And he's not great for doing certain things. He's good for some questing, but I haven't really used him very much. The second honorable mention is Hawkeye. So Hawkeye landing a crit hit with an arrow shot. He only does arrow shots during specials. Turns a bleed into a crit bleed. So you hit him, you do some bleed on a special, and then you hit him again with another special. Those bleeds convert into crit bleeds. And the bleeds for Hawkeye last forever, because then every time he hits him, it pauses it. And then the opponent's physical resistance is lowered up to 579 for each bleed debuff they have. So you can stack a lot of bleeds on him and everything. Massacre. So Massacre gets a bonus to his combat power rate while he attacks if he's awakened, and he gets a bonus to his crit rating if he's awakened, and those go up as your Sig level goes up. And lastly, it's Stealth Spidey. So he gets a Fury after he reuses a web cartridge, and that Fury, the potency of that Fury can actually increase if he's awakened, and it'll increase up to 40% depending on the Sig level. All right. So now we're going to switch up a little bit, and we're going to talk about skill champs that should be high signature level. And we're going to take our top 10 of those that should be awakened, and we're going to scramble them up, and we're going to talk about the top 10 that deserve your Sig Stones. So number one that I have on this list is Kingpin. I think he needs to be very high Sig, and I think you benefit the best if he is maximum signature. So he gets two things, and they're very critical to his whole kit. He gets more rages, and he can convert those rages over to from overpower back into rages. So I think that's remember he gets overpower when he gets 8 or more rages, and he can convert up to 5 of those. 90% chance for each one to convert over. So you can essentially keep him in overpower if he is max Sig, which is massive because he's completely broken when he's in overpower. He does so much damage, and he's just great. All right, so number 2 is Black Widow Deadly Origins. Again, she gets increased damage from sabotage, increased duration of sabotage. She's all about the sabotage. And she pauses the sabotage while landing hits. Up to 100%, 120% damage, and up to an 80% increase in the duration. So I think she benefits, one for being Awaken and one for being max Sig. Number 3, ShangChi. Again, crit hits through the block and then the burst damage. So he's all about doing the damage with as many hits as possible, especially when you do like the special 2 after you've done all of the chi moves, and he's got his chi charges all the way up. So he's just going to do that much more damage with each one of those massive hits if he's max Sig. So I think he deserves he deserves to be max signature level. Number 4 for signature stones is Mole Man. Again, I know a lot of people are not going to like that because of the nerf that he got, but I think if you can crank up his bonus crit damage and his attack rating through signature levels, he is still just an absolute beast. Number 5 is Blade. So Blade's healing cost is lowered for power if he goes. So having him max Sig is really important to get the most out of that healing, because the healing is pretty much the best thing. It's not the best thing in his kit, but it is the thing that really makes him very much God tier. Number 6 is Falcon. Getting a bonus to that crit rating while the lock-on is on and getting that maxed out is really important. Number 7 I put is Crossbones. The signature levels increase that chance to purify debuffs, which, again, convert over to Furies. So it's really important to get that as high as possible through signature stones. Number 8 is Korg. The higher the Sig level, the more damage he does when an opponent hits him with a medium, a heavy, or a special while his rock shield is on. And then while his rock shield is on, signature levels increase his chance to purify debuffs, and he gains more rock shields. It's all about having rock shields. Number 9 is HitMonkey. His Primal Rage or Assassin's Cunning will last longer based off of the number of signature levels that you have on him. You want those things to last as much as possible. In addition, while they're below 25% health, high signature level will get you up to 40% reduced defensive ability accuracy, which is pretty massive. And number 10 out of our top 10 to be awakened is Nick Fury. I probably wouldn't put any Sig Stones in him to begin with. I would just get him awakened. But you do take less damage, which means your health in your second life lasts longer. Okay, so that is what I have for everybody. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. And if you have any comments that are constructive, please leave them, and we can talk about them. And I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.